Run Your Story family, this is Allison Gaillard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And what a story. Coach Rick Cauley shares how running has been there, and he would put it to the side and then pick it back up and put it to the side and pick it back up, and now he's picking it back up again. So fun and such a great reminder of how sometimes you do just have to put it down, but then you can pick it back up. But one of the things that I took away from him is discipline meets motivation. So good. And if I know anyone that's disciplined, that is Coach Rick. He is disciplined. But he is also such a family man. And what an incredible athlete he is, and the journey that he's had. And also want to say a special shout out to our Patreon supporters who had some really unique questions for Coach Rick. And that was just so fun to be able to sit down and ask him that. So really appreciate our Patreon supporters having that relationship with Rick and wanting to know those really fun questions. It was so fun. And guys, it was just so important because Coach Rick is also, he shares running for the future. And that is just so cool. And again, that it's all about community, it's all about family. And with running, we have to be disciplined. Because as he says, there's some mornings where he doesn't want to get up. He doesn't want to go to the gym. He doesn't want to hit the pavement. But discipline beats motivation every single time. And also, he shared when he's running and active, he's a better coach, he's a better dad. He's just better. And I completely agree with that. On a personal level, yeah, so am I. And so I appreciated him sharing that. So thank you so much, Coach. Thank you for what you're doing with the community. Thank you for who you are. And just thank you for sharing your story, because it was absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing, our Patreon supporters, you guys are phenomenal human beings. And to our listeners, they are the reason why we're getting ready in November to celebrate 2 years. And this is all because of our Patreon family members. They have stepped up, and they not only financially take care of this podcast, but they also pour into us, as it's a lot to put on a podcast. Anybody will tell you that. And so to have people come walk alongside you and say, hey, I'm going to be there for you, or words of encouragement, or I get to say, hey, we're going to have this guest on, like, what kind of questions would you like? And they come up with some really great ones. And so it's really fun to be able to have those moments. And so I just really appreciate the amazing people that we have for our Patreon community. They're family members. I absolutely adore them. They're listeners that said, hey, we want to support this podcast. They're friends, they're family, and just absolutely love our Patreon supporters. So thank you a million times to our Patreon family members. You guys are rock stars. All right, guys, get ready, get set, and go run with my friend Rick and his Run Your Story. Yay, Rick, thank you for being here.
Of course, it's exciting. I've never done anything like this before.
Yay! I do have to say, one, you came highly recommended, yes, by Dave McDonald, the Dave McDonald. And then when I reached out to our Patreon family members, they had some questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got extra questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's how we're going to start. So the first question, or I should say, I was told to ask about the 92 Satsuma Gator football team.
We were actually good. Football's always kind of been a struggle up North Mobile back in the day, and we'd had a couple kind of average years, and that year we had 32 players, and we went 8-2 and made the playoffs, and those were your friends. So it was a special deal, and some of us got to go on and play afterwards, but I can say that it was never the same, and it's like playing with your friends. So it kind of lost its luster, and I just didn't want to play anymore without those guys. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. The second question is your baseball jersey getting untucked during warm-ups.
That's probably coming from when I was at Mobile and Keith Evans, I would imagine.
Ring-a-ding-ding, you got it.
And once the jersey comes untucked, it's untucked. I'm not going to sit there. It's irritating to have to, every time you throw, it comes untucked. And then you get it back in there, and then it makes a little ball thing. And once it's tucked in and where it's supposed to be, you want to keep it there.
There we go.
But I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do vaguely remember something about warming up and the shirts being tucked in. And That was another thing, playing baseball at Mobile. I met a lot of really cool guys, and Keith being one of them. And man, he's a great runner.
Yeah,
I can't keep up with that dude. But we were good at Satsuma. Even then in baseball, we were good. We went to state championship my junior year, and going there, it just never had the same, But I did meet some awesome people.
Oh, and I do have to say this, go Rams.
Go Rams.
That's my alma mater, too.
I love Coach Jacobs. And I played with Joe Espada, who's now the manager of the Houston Astros.
Wow.
And J.C. Romero is back coaching there. And he had a great baseball career, pitched for the Twins. And so it was a really great experience.
Yeah.
Keith being the highlight, of course.
Of course. Hashtag Keith. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for answering those extra questions.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So, what is your run story?
Well, I was a decent athlete growing up. Nothing great. I worked really hard at it so that I could be good. I wanted to go to college and play sports and all those things until I got there. But I was always a pretty decent athlete, and I thought I would always be a decent athlete. And then life catches up to you, and you spend half your life as a good athlete, and then the next half of your life overweight and out of shape and not able to do things, low energy and all those things. And I don't know, I was probably 35 or so and got sick of that and started running and really got into that. I'd run a marathon, and then my wife had our second kid, and she was a game changer, and I stopped running. So another 7-8 years go by and nothing. And I've just been slowly trying to figure out how to get back into it. And I stepped on the scales in February of 23.
Okay.
And I weighed about 283 pounds and said that's enough. And I started making some changes. I got in the weight room along with running, which has helped me.
Sure.
And I could get motivated for a race because I was a decent enough athlete. And you got muscle memory, like it'll come back.
Sure.
And you do that, and you just fall in love with it. And now I enjoy doing it, and I can see past races. And the next 25 years of my life, I feel like I've got a new lease on things, and I'm far healthier, changed the way I eat, and pretty much everything about the way I live. And I'm much happier.
So you're also, for those that don't know, you're also a coach.
I have been a football coach and baseball coach, and for a long time in Mobile, and I recently retired from Alabama, and I'm in Mississippi now at a middle school, and I love coaching. I do. And I think because I was coaching and I was outside and around young people, they keep you young. I think I felt like I was still able to do stuff, so it masks some things.
Gotcha.
For the years where I run and stay active, I was a much better coach than the years where I wasn't. So
oh, really?
Something about that long run on the weekend and really out there for 2 hours with nothing but your thoughts really helps you with game planning and stuff. I thought this past year may have been one of our better years, and I spent less time on football and more time running. And
wow.
So whenever I feel good, I do a better job at whatever it is I'm trying to do. I think I'm better at home whenever I take ownership over things. So it plays a big role in my life. It sets my schedule. It motivates me to do things, and it sets my discipline. So running is very important to me. And I have a really bad meniscus tear right now, and I was out for about 6 weeks. And then when I found out it was just meniscus and some IT band and some arthritis, I'm like, well, that's not terrible. So I just started running again. I've been back at it for about 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
So those other 6 weeks, I was not good to be around. But it sets my schedule. I love running. Good community. That's the main thing, is you meet very supportive people in the run community.
Absolutely. Oh, Rick, I love getting to know that about you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool. Obviously, from whether it's coaching or in running, as much as you talk about how much you love running, there have been some lessons that you've learned. So what are some of those lessons?
Discipline beats motivation every day of the week. You know, people are struggling with getting motivated and things like that. And I would say that most days I'm not motivated to go in the garage gym that we have. I'm not motivated to go do that, but I have set some discipline. When I was just going off motivation, hey, I signed up for a marathon, now I have to train. When that's over, then what? So discipline is definitely the main that's going to get you, and that's everything in life. I mean, how many people are motivated to go to work every day? Yeah. But discipline and the power bill and the mortgage will get you out of bed and make you go do that. So you got to set that with you're running and you're training and everything else, because your health is really all you got. All that other stuff is, we want to be around as long as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So that's my major lesson is motivation gets you so far, and discipline is key.
Oh, fantastic. What is your favorite race?
Well, I love a lot of the local races. I love the Lulu's Hot Trot because it's miserable.
You and Keith Evans are buddies. Y'all are just
going out there and just hurting. And it's so hot on the way back. I didn't get to run it this year. We were out of town. I love that one. But there's a little race in Norco, Louisiana.
Okay.
It's called the Spillway Classic Trail Run. It's a small town in Louisiana, and you run on a spillway. So you go up and you run on this gravel road.
Okay.
And before the race, all these Cajuns are out there, and they're having a good time, and they know each other. I married someone from South Louisiana, so that's how I know about this race. So you go, and while you're sitting there talking, you visibly see alligators all in the water and everywhere. So there's alligators and snakes and probably God knows what else.
Fantastic.
And then you run on this gravel road for about a mile, and then you hang a left off into this water where the alligators are. Yes. So you run through the water, and then you run through the woods. They say it's a 5K. I have no idea how far it is. I just know it's in the middle of the summer. It's super hot. You can't breathe. Before the race, they are handing out duct tape because you have to duct tape your shoes on because they'll come off. And then they have this party afterwards. They name some young lady the Watermelon Queen every time, and then she has to do a watermelon dance of some sort. The beer trucks are unsupervised. It's just a throwdown party. That's my favorite race I've ever been to. Like, it is crazy. And you have a good chance to place in that race in your age group because a lot of people my sister-in-law lost one of her. She finished with one shoe one time. So people quit or they sign up and see the alligators, and I'm not doing that. But it's a lot of fun.
I was thinking that you were going to say it's easy for you to place because the gators got.
They could have. I mean,
That's where I thought you were.
But it is the South Louisiana. Everybody is just there to have a good time, and it's welcoming, and like really good run community there, and that's a fun race. I'd say everyone needs to go to Norco in the summer and do it one time just to see it.
Wow.
It's a fun race.
You have not sold me on that at all. There is nothing about that sounded fun.
I run with bears all the time. Alligators they're not as scary as bears.
Oh, okay. We'll agree to disagree on that one.
I've seen the guy on TV. You just grab them under their chin and you push up, and then they can't do anything. They're paralyzed.
Do you rub their bellies too while you're at it?
I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh my word. Okay. Let's talk pre-race routine. Do you have one?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm usually a nervous wreck before races, and I don't know why, because I know that it doesn't matter, and no one cares. No one's looking at how I do. I'm as average a person on the planet as you can be. People aren't looking at me like, oh, this guy's going to win. But I get nervous. I don't really have a set routine. I do like to run a little bit before a race. Okay. But as far as a routine goes, I just like to walk around and see people that are like me and then try to talk to those people. And you always can ask them about their shoes, and that's a good icebreaker. And then, they'll ask you about your shoes, and I wear weird shoes. So it's fun. It's a fun pre-race routine, I guess.
You wear alligator shoes?
No alligator shoes. They're real shoes.
You cross the finish line. What does that post-race routine look like for you?
Usually I try to find my family. They come to a lot of stuff and they cheer me on. I usually try to find them. They ask me about it. I tell them it's fun. And the ones that have a beer, I'm going to try to find and drink a beer. Sometimes I eat. If they have food, I'm not usually hungry after I run. And then I just hang around, and hopefully there's music, and you just sit there and I talk to my kids and the other runners. The ones around here, so many people, and you can talk to them about how they did, how their training was, and there's a lot of really good local runners and guys I can never catch, but it's fun to talk to them anyway. What
is your absolutely favorite running item? Like, you will not go running without this item.
my watch.
Okay.
I've always had a Garmin. I know a lot of people have switched over to the Chorus. I don't know much about that, but I've always had a Garmin and I enjoy it. It keeps up with everything because of sports. I'm a stats. If you ask me how many home runs Darryl Strawberry hit in 1987, I can tell you it was 39. So my running stats and my numbers, it lets me geek out on that stuff. So if Garmin didn't catch it, it didn't really happen.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah.
So when I lift weights, I track every set, everything that I do. I track it, and it's not going to matter when I'm dead one day and people can look at it and go, look what this idiot did. But for me, I like to do it and track it, and Strava keeps up with it. I'm part of this other Facebook group from this supplement company called Mountain Ops, and we hold each other accountable.
Okay.
So I have to have it so I can post it there, and then they can comment on it and
tell you how great you did.
Tell you to keep hammering.
That's amazing.
That's right.
You mentioned shoes that are not alligator shoes,
They're
but
not
legit
alligators.
real shoes. What do you run in, my friend?
I run in Newtons.
Okay, okay.
I had some real struggles with the plantar fasciitis when I first started running. I went to Joe over at McCoy's, and he put me in Newtons, and I have tried to transition out of Newtons several times, and I have failed every time. So they're hard to find, and Joe can get them. But sometimes I want to change the style, and they may not have them. So they're expensive, but I run on my toes, always have. My parents told me I walked on my tiptoes until I was like 8.
Wow.
So my heels, they don't hit the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm a 4-foot guy, and that's what those shoes are supposed to let you do. And they're like my security blanket when it comes to shoes. So whichever's the old pair, they go to the weight room shoes, and the really old pair is the grass cutting shoes, and that's just how they rotate out.
That is amazing. Wow.
So I stay in Newtons. I know they're not popular as they were 10, 15 years ago, but so people are always like, what are those shoes?
Yeah, because they have the pods on the bottom.
Yeah, they have these little lugs. When they're new, you catch a lot of rocks.
Oh, okay.
So you run, and you don't want to stop running, so try to injure yourself by kicking the ground while you run to get the rock out, because like I said, it really matters in my Tuesday training run if I take a couple seconds to stop to get the rock out. So it's way better for me to run downhill in Charleston Ridge and kick the ground really hard.
Right. Yeah.
I do a lot of really dumb things.
That sounds amazing. So fun. All right, let's talk about running fuel.
Okay.
When you're out and about, or even if you want to talk about pre-run, like how do you fuel on your long runs?
So I don't.
Okay. Okay.
I always train and run fasted.
Okay.
Just because that's how my schedule of life runs.
Sure.
So I wake up early and run and train because that's what the year during school is like that. So with coaching, you can't train at night.
Yeah.
And usually that's my time with my family. So I get up when it's dark, and I just don't like to eat.
Yeah.
Before I go, I have a cup of coffee and run. So being out there and having food on you and then having to find a bathroom in a place where there are no stores where I run. So
just bears.
You just run back to the house. You share a den with a bear. But so I think I kind of intermittent fast anyway, so it fits into my schedule to just run fasted. And that it hurts me whenever you're trying to run marathons and stuff. Like that distance is not a good distance for me because of that, because I can't figure out the fueling.
I gotcha.
So it's always a nightmare. But I still like to do them because I like the training because it's hard. But I can go run a half marathon with nothing on me and not have to fuel. But anything over that, you have to fuel. And I don't like to. So I answered that question poorly with I do not refuel. I do not fuel.
I was just sitting, I now want to get you and Keith, and I just want to listen to your conversations. Who is like, no, you should try, like just trying to like up each other. That's how I could see that going.
Because he's faster. He's going to up me because he's faster. The fast guy wins. If you're not first, you're last.
You guys, wow, okay. Do you have a favorite running memory?
I don't know. My first 5K ever is I ran with my wife. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Where, I think I ran a 5K in 38 minutes or something with her. I was I had no idea what I was going to. We went and ran the McGuire's prediction run. That was a good one. Last year, she was 7 at the time, and my 11-year-old, they ran a a fun run. That was fun to do. And last year I ran the Bushwhackers, and my oldest daughter ran that with me. So anytime where we're all there and we're all doing it, those are fun for me.
Aw.
So
I like that.
But those are the only, my family fuels my memories. The rest of it is just fluff and selfish things that I enjoy.
You mentioned that when you're out running, sometimes prior to us talking on the podcast, you mentioned that you're out and just you can have your thoughts.
Yes.
So do you listen to music at all when you run?
I do. I have, I don't think they're called Shocks or something.
Okay, yeah.
So I listen on those. I have very weird running playlists.
Okay.
I don't care about music at all. But I do listen to music, and the way I pick songs is that it will spark a memory of some sort from back in the past, like a fun time me and my friends had, or a song when me and my wife were mad at each other and then this song made her less mad at me, or times where we were in a car and my kids were singing it, like those kind of memories. Those are the songs. So my playlist will go from Guns N' Roses to This Is My Fight Song to Wrecking Ball, back to something from Megadeth or something. So it's very weird, and I think if someone else could listen to it, they'd be like, what is wrong with this person that this is what they listen to? But it's easy listening. I can get that memory, and then I think about that, and it gets me through whatever it is that I'm doing. I don't rely on the music for any sort of energy source or anything. So it's mind candy is what I call it.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
That's what it is.
Oh, that was such a great answer. I like that.
Okay.
That was so good.
I thought that might be a really weird answer because everyone else in my family, everyone else in my family, like they love music, or I talk to other people, and music is movement and it feeds your soul, and I'm like, no, not mine. How to correctly block the power out of the single wing offense is more my poetry and stuff. So the music is not for me.
But the memory attached to it.
The memory attached to it.
That is great. That is such a cool answer.
That's what I listen to.
That's amazing. You listen to the memory.
I do.
That's cool. Aw.
And some Rocky sound bites. Because some of the stuff from those movies go way back to me and my brother sitting around watching Rocky movies all the time, and most of it holds true.
Yeah,
Rocky's a genius with horrible speech patterns.
What would you say would be like one of the best Rocky quotes?
The one from the last one when he's talking to his son in the street, where nothing's going to hit as hard as life does. That's not how hard you hit. About how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's a great one. Yeah. That's my favorite.
I like it. Okay. That was just a little fun extra question there.
It's
like I wasn't prepared for all these. Let's talk about recovery. Because as a coach and as an athlete, obviously recovery is super important. So do you have a favorite recovery tool?
This time of year, I run and jump in my pool.
Oh, nice.
And try to just cool off a little bit. My couch is a great recovery tool. The dogs become a weighted blanket. They come and lay on me. But I guess I'm probably like the rest of us weekend warriors, where recovery is you're going to go for a walk with your kids through Costco and fill up a cart and spend $800 on groceries. So that's probably recovery, is just movement through life. But it's not something that I really have time to think about a whole lot. And because I run in the morning, most of the time I'm go to work. So I would go run whatever it is, a speed workout on a Thursday morning, and then go over to work and cut grass for a few hours, and then you're at weight room and football practice, and you're home, and before you know it, you're recovered. Yeah. My watch says I'm not recovered. I stay, and actually I'm okay right now, but I usually stay in the red, like it's going to take you 72 hours.
You're like, ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't have 72 hours. I'll rest when I'm dead.
Wow.
That's,
That is fantastic.
So I don't have a recovery plan at all.
No.
There are no plans.
You're like, and I ignore my watch.
Yes.
Oh, that was super amazing. You did mention that you have a gym at home. So do you use that as cross training?
I do. When I decided to changed my life. I got into weight training. I've always hated it. Like I couldn't.
Really?
Even from playing football back in the day, I hated weight training. Did not like it. I would love to run. I'd go outside and run stadiums all day, but don't ask me to bench press.
That is so interesting.
But now I love it. Through lots of research, I have finally learned what other people have known their whole life, that sarcopenia is a real thing. And every year you lose muscle mass. And when you lose muscle mass, you slip and fall, and you're not strong enough, or you don't have the balance to not fall. And then it's that whole landslide song that's really sad. So we're going to try to avoid that and lift some weights so that I don't just break. So strength training is probably my cross training.
Yeah, that's so good. Not only for the pavement, but for the future.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Okay, got it. Do you have a worst race?
Yeah, it was very recent.
Okay.
I ran a half marathon, Orange Beach, in November, and I ran it with a really bad infection in my elbow. Like, it was bad. But I ended up winning my age group, and I had a really good race. Good time. It was a good race. But I took antibiotics from it, and I have a very specific diet. So it killed everything in my stomach. So for the next month leading up to, I was going to do the shark challenge at Big Beach. Leading up to that, I never could get right again. And then 3 days or so before the race, my stomach was a wreck. I couldn't eat or anything.
Yeah.
And a normal person probably would have not done the 7K the day before, but I did. And I felt okay during that. I actually placed, it was fine. And I said, okay, I'm going to be fine tomorrow. And for the first 12 miles I was, but I ran into that thing where I didn't eat after the race because I didn't want my stomach to be upset. Didn't eat before the race because I didn't want my stomach to be upset. So then when I started taking stuff on around mile 12, but it was really wet that weekend, so I brought extra socks, and I had a hat because it was cold, and I had a long sleeve shirt, and all those were gone because that was the only tissue that I had. And I spent a lot of time in the woods during that race.
Wow.
And I couldn't run because it moved my stomach.
Yeah.
So I ended up just walking, and it was 5.5 hours of pure torture. But I got there.
Yeah.
I finished it. Now, I told my wife, they were waiting at the finish line, and I'm sure they thought I was dead. But that's all I said. If I'd have seen you anywhere along the course, I would have called it. But I didn't quit, mainly just because of circumstance, not because I'm tough. There was just nowhere to go but keep walking forward. But I did meet this kid, some 19-year-old kid who had went to BC Rain High School, and he was there running in wind pants and not running shoes. And there's a little bit of a language barrier, and he just heard about the race and showed up, and he was even more in worse shape than me. So I couldn't use any of my fuel, so I just gave it to him.
Oh, wow.
And I don't ever know what happened to him, but I stayed with him for about 4 miles, and he was really struggling with cramps and some issues. But you meet all kind of people while you run. He was a cool kid. I had a good time during those 4 miles, but he had to stop moving for a little while, and I never saw him again. But there was a lot of people hurting at that thing. That was a struggle. That was definitely the worst race of all, and it scared me off marathons, where it's just maybe not my thing.
Okay.
I like to be able to compete, and I'm a bigger guy. Like, I'm never going to be small. I'm always going to weigh about 210 pounds, and carrying that for 26 miles is, I say that, and you watch Nick Bear run it in 2 hours and 30 minutes or something, but it's just not my thing. And that was a terrible race.
Well, that was going to be my next question was, would you go back and try to redo that race or do it again?
I've been getting the emails, and I know that it's not good for me, but there is something that I got to go back.
I got to go back, and I got to finish what I started.
Yeah, I can't leave it
I'm shocked by that answer.
That I would go back?
That you would go back.
Yeah. If someone tomorrow, in that Mountain Ops group, I hadn't run in 5 weeks, and someone threw down a 10-mile challenge of some sort, and I told my wife, because in my knee, I haven't run, it's been killing me, and I said, I got to get up and run 10 miles, and she's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, Ryan Haas threw down this challenge, and I've got to go do it. And I did it. I finished it, and it did way better than I said. If I could just keep the miles, under 10-minute miles for 10 miles. That's a good day when I haven't been doing anything.
Yeah.
And I did complete it. And then I was like, you've just been soft this whole time. It convinced me. So thanks to Ryan for having that challenge, because I've been fine.
Wow.
I just needed a stupid challenge. Like going back to this marathon and trying again.
So speaking of goals, do you have any?
I don't really have any specific goals other than I would like to just keep doing it. So whatever I have to do to keep moving, because I really enjoy it, and it kind of sets the tone for my life. So I want to keep doing it. That is my main goal. I would like to be always want a PR. So I want to get in the 130s and a half. And I think I had a 141 one time.
Wow, yeah.
About 10 years ago, I ran a sub 25K. It was like 1956, but it was sub 20.
Yeah.
And I want to get back to where I'm at least close to 20. I think last year, even after the huge weight loss it was 21 something was as close as I got. So I've got a ways to go, and I want to get under 45 on a 10K. So I've got some time specific goals.
Okay.
And at one point in time, I want to do the Goggins 4x4x48 thing. 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I want to do that. So maybe when I'm 48 years old now, I think for my 50th birthday, I can do that.
You hear that, Keith Evans? You hear what you're going to do?
Keith, we're doing it.
For Rick.
We're doing it.
Because that sounds like something Keith would do.
Yeah. I think that's one that I train by myself all the time. I'm always alone because no one lives up there. No one wants to run at 4 a.m. in Saraland Bear Country.
It sounds like a great idea.
So, but yeah, I would like to get a group of guys that, Derek Williams runs it. I don't even know who he is, but he follows me, and he's a
super nice guy.
Yeah, he's a
big Taylor Swift fan.
Oh, really? My daughters would love him. He's always super encouraging, and I think he would be down for it. And there's a bunch of guys on there, I think, that would want to do it. So
I think you should get the Satsuma 92 football team back together and do it for the Big 5-0.
I don't think a lot of those guys are going to want to do that. They all think I'm crazy. They'll look at me running down Celeste Road sometimes. What is that guy doing? So yeah, I think Keith is a better option for that one.
I like Keith and Derek. That would be fun.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. Okay. A mantra. Is there something you tell yourself when you do want to give up or you don't want to get up at that 4 a.m. workout?
So my weight room coach at Davidson, Brian O'Gwen, and we'd always sit around and we'd talk about how long we're going to live. And in our minds, we'll live forever because we eat meat and lift weights and take care of ourselves. So we always say that we'll never be middle-aged, and my daughters like it, and they say, I don't even think of you as middle-aged. So I'm 48.
Yeah.
So everything to me is just never middle-aged. I'll never be middle-aged.
Okay.
So whatever middle-age is, I will never get to that. In the way that I act, my mental state. So when I don't want to do something, I'm like, that's what a middle-aged person would say. So we have said that when we get to 60, that might be close to middle age.
That's fair.
Because we're obviously going to live to 120.
Sounds great.
Unless I get hit by a car on Celeste Road. But never middle age has been my thing, and that I tell myself and hashtag from time to time whenever I'm kind of a quiet person. I'm not very big on public social media. I do some things in a Facebook group, but that's about it.
Okay.
But never middle age, that's it.
Never middle aged. Got it. That's good. I like it.
Yep.
That's good.
I still act just like I did when I was 18. My wife loves it.
I was just about to say. What is your favorite length to run, whether it's a race or a training run?
I like to run fast,
or
what I call fast is not fast, but I like to run fast. So 5Ks are fun. They're fun, but also the half marathon, because it's the distance that I can still run fairly fast, and it's the biggest training challenge. Like I like to train. I have people, I don't know if you know Susie McDonald. She has told me several times that, what are you training for? And I'm like, I don't know. You need to race. You are trained. You need to race. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm, imposter syndrome sets in. I'm not going to that race. So, yeah, I love to train. Like, I just love the grind of the train. The race is anxiety. The training is fun. So probably the half marathon, because that's my favorite training distance.
That is amazing. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When you're not running, what fuels you? What are you passionate about?
So I really like to spend time with my family and friends, but I drive my wife crazy because when we finish eating, I get up, start doing the dishes or move around. She wants me to sit still and talk, but I like to just have people around, family around. I don't necessarily want to drive the conversation or even participate in the conversation, because most of the time my views are not like anyone else's in the room, and it's just best that I keep quiet and serve the food and wash the dishes. So that's probably it. It's just family and trying to do the best job I can for them, not let them down. So that's it. Do a good job for my family. Was it?
That's a good one.
Mother Teresa, didn't she say that? If you want to change the whole world, go home and love your family.
That's good.
So,
yeah.
But I've read somewhere where she was a terrible person. So what do I know? What do I know?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
See, that's why I don't talk when people are around, because people do not know how to respond to me. I'm sure she was a great lady. I don't know. I'm sure she was probably fantastic.
I was not expecting that at all.
I'm gonna get canceled.
Oh man! All right. Any final words of wisdom?
I don't know that I have done enough to be wise to someone, but I think that people need to set a plan for what they want in life, not what they want now, but what they want towards the end of life, and what you want that to look like. And that can be what drives you every day, is what does 90-year-old look like to you? And people are like, man, I don't want to live to 90. That's miserable. And I'm like, well, then you're not living right now, because I was recently at a funeral and this lady was 90 years old and she was telling me she cuts her own grass and she still walks 4 or 5 miles a day. And I'm like, see, 90 can look like that. So if I had any advice for anybody, is how's the end of your life look? And then today, how are you going to prepare yourself for that to be what it looks like? And if you do that, then you'll probably lead a purposeful life.
That's so good. Well, thank you, Coach. Thank you for coming and sharing everything.
This is fun. I only do interviews about football, so
wow,
this is great. This is great.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for what you do, and just for everything. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you. I had a great time.
Yay! Don't you just love Coach Rick? Just absolutely such a fun runner, just a fun dude. And how about the fact that he puts memories to music? That was just absolutely the coolest thing, and absolutely love that. And his favorite race being with the Gators. That one I still don't understand, but that was such a fun story, and so glad that that's his favorite race, not one I ever intend to do. And also, Keith Evans and Derek Williams, you've been called out. So you guys now have to do what Rick said when he turns 50. We're going to do a big celebration, guys. Let's just go big. Let's go big for Coach Rick. I love that so much. And the hashtag never middle aged. Oh, so fun. Such a cool dude. Thank you, Rick, so much for your run story, for your goals, for, again, just what you're bringing to the community and for who you are. And reminding us that sometimes you do have to put down running, but then you pick it back up. And again, on the days that we're not motivated, that we can be disciplined. And that discipline is gonna beat that motivation. So absolutely love that. So good, so good. And thank you, Patreon supporters. You guys are just absolutely amazing, and I love you so much. And thank you so much for making this podcast possible. Thank you for believing in Run Your Story and showing up each week. And just love you guys so very much. Guys, like, share, comment Rick's story. It's absolutely amazing, and it's so fun. And highly recommend that you guys get to know Rick. If you don't know him, I'll introduce him at a race. Such a fun guy, and you know, he runs with bears and gators and snakes and everything else, so why not? He's just such a cool dude. So definitely get to know Rick and his family. Highly recommend. So like, share, and comment, and let us know what you think about Rick. Let us know what was your favorite thing about his story, because it's such a fun dude. And as always, Mars Hill, thank you so much for giving us a place that's safe for us to be able to not only share our stories, but laugh together, cry together. They believe in the running community and they believe in your stories. And we just appreciate Mars Hill so much for giving us a wonderful space to be able to share our hearts with one another. And as always, Gaillard Tech Services, thank you so much for editing this podcast and keeping up with our website and doing all the things that I don't want to do. So thank you, Gaillard Tech Services. Guys, if you need to freshen up that current website or create a new one, Greg Gaillard at Gaillard Tech Services. He's on social media. He also has a website. Definitely go check him out. He stays very busy, but he loves what he does. He's a data guy. He loves a website. So definitely go check him out and give him some love. Let him know that you appreciate what he puts in to run your story. And he loves the running community as well. All right, guys. Until next time, go run your story because every story needs to be heard.